Hey everybody, welcome back to the program. I'm very excited because today in the Vinyl Pad, I have a very special guest, singer-songwriter Dylan Chambers. Thank you so much for being here, buddy.
Hey man, it's an honor to be here, dude.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all kinds of amazing stuff. We're going to talk about your new music, talk about the Beatles, of course.
Great.
You had an amazing experience at Abbey Road and also the Cavern Club, which is fantastic. We're talking about Elvis and all kinds of other stuff. So let's get into it.
Let's do it, man. So I have an EP that's coming out in May. So that's all done. And I just put out a record in Japan. Actually, I have like a full vinyl.
You're kidding
that's
me.
Doing really well. Yeah, I have a top 5 single over there right now. And
that's amazing.
yeah, dude, never even been. So it's I don't know, it's pretty surreal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. You found an audience out there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they always say like big in Japan, right?
Right.
But it's like, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, that can happen.
Totally.
Is it like a 7-inch or?
No, it's, or actually, 7-inch.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically all of my singles that I've put out since 2020 has been compiled into a full-length record there called It's Time for Dylan Chambers. And it's out. And
so cool.
it's in like Tower Records. And,
no way.
Yeah, man. And one of the singles got to number 5 on the Tokyo Hot 100. It stayed there for like 5-10 weeks.
That is no easy feat.
Yeah, man. And obviously I'm a big Beatles fan, and it kept climbing past now and then. And I just...
Get out of town.
I was like, this feels wrong. This is not. And Green Day, which I'm a big fan of, it passed their new single that came out. And
right.
I mean, I grew up with these people, so it was pretty surreal to just see that.
That's incredible. I can't even begin to imagine what that must feel like. I mean, I get a little bit of that when I like check some of my YouTube numbers.
Of course.
But I mean, it's so different. Like that's such a wow. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Did you end up getting a copy or a couple?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, totally. I'll come by and drop one off for you sometime. Yeah. I'd love to give you one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a few sent to me every now and then, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, so next time I'd love to add it to your collection if you'd like.
Oh no, I'd be thrilled. I'd put it in a place of honor up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
cool.
I'd replace that red skull. That's a fellow YouTuber.
Oh, okay. Sick.
Yeah, this guy Metal Jesus Rocks.
Nice.
Mostly does video games, but occasionally he does talk about music.
Yeah.
And he made his own theme song.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's like a 7-inch, limited like 500 copies.
I love that.
So I had to get it.
Yeah.
But wow, that's so cool. And I wonder if you could touch on like, because just as an observer, and I'm getting a little bit more into the industry workings, but especially when I talk to like I hate to use this term, but the Gen Z crowd, like I notice like, especially with Spotify, stuff like that, there's way less emphasis on albums, even though like that's still a thing.
Yeah.
But like I noticed with your work, it's a lot of singles, and I'm sure that was on purpose. Yeah.
I mean, I really just put out singles to build my audience at first, you know, and I think obviously so much music comes out today, and I feel like it's a lot, maybe this is just me, but for a quote unquote new artist to ask for, an hour's worth of someone's attention when I haven't really given them a reason to trust me as an artist yet. Some of my favorite artists, I trust them. They built a world. The Beatles, like you fall into this world, and I want to create that world for people, so I'm building it brick by brick. That
makes so much sense to me when you put it that way. Like it is, and then also just the fact of the matter, like the way we consume is just all digital for the most part. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true. These days.
I mean, I think they just did a survey, and like half of the people who buy records, vinyl, don't actually own a record player.
Yeah, that's
half.
Sure, that's probably true.
It's like a collectible, right? And I like them because they are collectible, but you can also use them.
Right.
It's not like a little figurine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But do you ever think about it? Because you seem like an old school cat. Like, do you ever think about like, well, really, it's just a return to how the music industry was. Yeah. In a sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see that. To me, I like to live in that world in my brain anyway, regardless. Like you're probably like this a bit with your, fascination of things that came before you, where you kind of go into a daydream state. And my life is like that. I get to kind of fall into that with my artistry, and I love records for that reason. I like to feel like I'm really a part of the 60s and 70s, or at least what I understand it to be in my brain, because obviously I was born in 1992, but I fantasize about it all the time. I read about it. I listen to music from that time, and I'm like, I just want to be a part of whatever that seems to be now.
And then you befriended someone, a producer who like lived that. And what was that on for you, like to meet him and like?
Yeah, so the crazy backstory on that is when I was 16 and I was living in my hometown of Arlington, Texas, Three Dog Night came through. And I got asked to open for them solo. I think I was
so crazy.
Yeah, I was 16. I think I was still in high school.
Did you have a band at that point?
No, it was just me.
Like on a guitar?
Yeah, just me and an acoustic guitar. And I opened for them, and then moved to LA after high school. And I'm playing all these shows, and I end up playing at the Dresden. And Richard Potteler, the producer of Three Dog Night, was invited to see me, and I had no idea. And so we hung out, him and the engineer, Bill Cooper, who did all those records. I hung out with them, and I was like, I actually opened for Three Dog Night. They didn't know that. It was just a small world kind of coincidence. Right. And then we became friends, and Richard became a mentor and took me over to Danny Hutton's house all these years later, who was one of the lead singers of Three Dog Night. And he was like, I remember you. It's just so crazy to I mean, he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Gave me one of his guitars. And I named it Richie, and I play it all the time.
What kind of guitar is it?
It's a Fender Custom Shop Strat.
Oh,
it's real nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
They put out great work.
Oh, yeah.
Did he give you any sort of, because you're still young, but at the time, like, did he give you any like advice of how to navigate the industry?
Well, the industry is obviously very different than it used to be. But one thing he said that remains true is it's always about the song. And it's no matter what, in this age of TikTok and Instagram and people writing verses and choruses just to post on TikTok, it's like, write a song, write something that really means something to you, and just keep putting it out. It's always about the song, no matter what. That will never go away. So I think about that often when I'm writing. How honest am I being? How true is this? And will this resonate with people out there in the world? Because it's about the song. It's not about anything else.
That's so true. I mean, if you don't have that, what are you? You're just a personality, I guess. You know?
I mean, if we even think about people like the Beatles, or what's the reason why you like them? What's the reason that, really captured you besides maybe their style or that time? It's a song. Their songs are the heart of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't often think in those terms, but you're totally right. And it is interesting when we have a group, like the Beatles, and like I think we're both really big fans, but we don't love all of their songs, I don't think, equally. Maybe not equally, right? Sure. There's a time and a place for Why Don't We Do It on the Road, but it's usually not often. Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah.
Or Dig a Pony.
Yeah, Rocky Raccoon.
Yeah. So see, but I love that. The storytelling on that.
Totally. It is pretty great.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I wish they got more chances or more opportunity to just kind of do whatever they wanted. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, they did. I think that's the thing that's hard is, being a fan of theirs and then becoming an artist and thinking back to what they did. I was like, they, in a way, really did do whatever they felt like doing. And somehow everyone went with them. Do you know how hard that is to do? I don't know. That's, as an artist, that feels like to get everyone on board with what you do and how much you change.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, there's essays, there's books written on it, and I can't even really wrap my head around it. And it's hard for us because we weren't there.
Right.
But like, people talk about when Sgt. Pepper's came out. I would say that was like the peak of their cultural appeal. I mean, not that they never lost popularity, but I feel like someone was saying like when the day it came out, like you couldn't walk down London without hearing it in people's homes. Like it was so prevalent. I mean, even Hendrix, like right, like he like I think within a couple of days he had learned Sgt. Pepper's or a version of that song. He learned
it right before that show in the dressing room. And played it. Yeah,
yeah. I mean that's insane, and I'm sure moments like that happen, but we're so disconnected in a weird way now in terms of cultural. Not everyone's on the same boat, and to actually crack that, like say like Gaga or somebody, like that's so huge. Like it's hard to see these mega acts like we have in the past. And I'm getting a little sidetracked here, but I think what it was is that the Beatles were growing up almost at the same time as our audience in a way,
right?
And like it wasn't like what's the word? It wasn't like they were trying to jump onto a trend. It was just they were riding this cultural wave in a sense, right?
Yeah.
And sort of morphed with it.
Yeah, that is just a testament to how original they were. I just think a lot of people today go, what's cool? What is happening in the world that I can write a song? What'll go viral on TikTok? Right. There was nothing like that. It was just pure imagination. And
they didn't even understand necessarily, like at a certain point it became beyond anything anyone had ever experienced. Like no one knew what to do, and they were like right. I mean, there had been number one hits. I mean, you'd seen Elvis, you'd seen Sinatra, you'd seen these the Bobby Sockers go after him, and teenagers and stuff, but like it was just totally different with the Beatles. Like
I know,
and we're still talking about them.
Yep,
which is insane.
Probably always will be.
But isn't that interesting though? Like, I mean, if we talk about Elvis, right? Like he's still a cultural icon in a sense of like James Dean or Marilyn Monroe, right? Yeah. But I feel like I remember one time, like back in the days of just downloading music from like LimeWire, like someone had mistitled Bebop Baluba as like Elvis, right? Gene Vincent,
right?
And this is like, it's almost like when you speak of like the song, like Elvis does have his songs, but I feel like he's known more for like other things, which is so interesting.
Yeah,
and I wonder if that has anything to do with him not really being a writer.
Yeah,
maybe. I wonder.
Yeah, some people really are just gifted at writing, and I know that he didn't write a lot of his songs. He was a very gifted performer. Yeah. Just was really into fashion. Clearly, I mean, really like set all these trends. He did so much big personality. Yeah.
I know. I was reading when Elvis was meeting with Nixon. He like walked into some government building, and like this reporter wrote an opinion piece on it, and he described Elvis as sashaying into the building,
right?
Because he had a cape and stuff, and it's just like that's so true. Like it was all about the image.
Oh yeah, big time. And to me, his voice still stands the test of time. I love his voice, so powerful and mellow. He could do so much.
Yeah, he really was talented. Like it's not like, I don't know if you ever come across this, but like a lot of times you might meet a cynical person and like they might downplay, Gaga or Taylor Swift or somebody, right. But it's like, no, these people are very, very talented.
Yeah, it just might not be your thing.
Exactly.
You can't deny that they are actually good at what they do.
Yeah, like I don't love most of Bruno Mars's music, but there's a few songs. Like anyway, I like 24 Karat Gold?
Yeah, 24 Karat Magic.
Magic, thank you. Of course. Yeah, I really like that album.
What about Silk Sonic? Were you into that?
I enjoyed it, but something about it was off.
Okay.
And I couldn't put my finger on it. I don't know why. Maybe if I go back to it,
Yeah.
What did you think?
I loved it. I thought I was very happy to see them taking influences of the 70s and making it current now in a big way. I mean, Leave the Door Open got on pop radio, and that introduced, I think, a lot of younger people to just that kind of sound, and hopefully some of them went back and went, oh, Bootsy Collins is on this record.
Oh,
Let me see who that is. You know, just to go back, I think that's really important. I feel like that's a huge contribution to music that they did intentionally or not. Like, that's going to bring people back to exploring.
Yeah, I think that's so key, because I mean, we're, I don't know, let's see, we're about 10 years apart. So like, I remember there was a big resurgence of the 70s and the 90s. Yeah. But that was almost like a natural thing that happened, because like, it feels like every 20 years people look back at what was the thing then, and they bring it back.
Yeah, I'm starting to see this resurgence happening again in a way. I mean, you've got groups like The Dip. They're awesome.
Oh, love them.
Yeah, totally. Me too. Yeah. You know, even like Duran Jones and the Indications, Aaron Fraser. There's this underground thing that's happening. Yeah. And, you know, these people are my peers, and I feel, you know, honored to be kind of in this world when people like that are also on the scene. And
can we talk about your music? Because I have a hard time describing it even to myself, because they're I mean, for me, the through line is a positivity, which I really dig. Not that you can't get the blues occasionally, but like they're like, especially your latest, I think it's your latest single. It's just, I really, really enjoy it. And thank you. What are you drawing from, or how would you describe that? So for me, a big inspiration of mine is Earth, Wind and Fire. Oh, okay. And I read Maurice White's memoir a few years ago, and he had mentioned something that his intention with the band and with the music was to just put out positivity only. If you go and you really listen through their catalog, there are not many sad songs. It's all about love and uplifting the consciousness of the world. And again, I don't always feel that way. In fact, I don't feel that way most often. And right now, systemically, lots of things, they're, you know, it can be a little emotionally heavy to be a human being right now. There's a lot. And I think we went through a collective trauma through COVID and all this, whether we know that yet or not, you know. So to me, I'm just like, I don't want to bum anyone out right now. I don't want to do that with my songs, with my messages. And even for me, when I get on stage, I want to create a positive environment, not only for the audience, but for myself. It's my escape, you know. Probably it feels good to be in this room for you. You know, there's a lot of things that make you happy in here. I walk in here and I feel happy and I feel exactly how I want to feel all the time by seeing all of these, you know, historically wonderful artists that I love. And I kind of want to do that for an audience, for myself. It's just a heavy time. I want to put out joy in the world. Why not if I can? Yeah. And then when you go out play live, what does that usually look like? So it depends. You know, I've got a 6-piece band with horns. And, oh, awesome. Yeah, it's, you know, very soulful and funky. So, you know, if the show calls for that, I'll do that. That's ultimately what I want to be doing the most with. But, you know, I've been playing solo a lot for years too. So it really just depends on what the show calls for and the environment, but I'm comfortable in all of them. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I think I've done like a deep dive, or just let the Spotify play all your stuff. And like I really like that Christmas duet you did. Oh yeah, Christmas Without You with Maggie Szabo. How'd that one come about? I was in the studio with her and fellow co-collaborator Stefan Litt, who I do all my stuff with. We had this music for a while, and we like didn't really know what to say. We were like just stuck on that. It was like dragging on, and then it was kind of like, this kind of sounds Christmassy. Like, do you want to write a Christmas song? And it was not around Christmas time. So we were like, yeah, sure. And then it just kind of came about that it turned into a Christmas song, and
feels classic in a way, which is sort of always a goal for me when I'm writing music, is like, does this feel reminiscent of what I think classic music is, which obviously is all the stuff that you have in here. Like, that is what I think of, and I'm like, let's try to get in that mindset. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
Do you often, or do you strive to try to replicate vintage recording styles, or?
Yes, to an extent. Okay. My whole thing with music is I'm very inspired by classic music, specifically 50s through the 70s. I listen to Delta blues as well, but I go everywhere. But for me, I don't want to just try to recreate that only. That's been done, and I don't even want to touch it because it's pure gold. I just want to use whatever I can, elements of that, and modernize it to push what I'm wanting to do forward.
And have you ever, is it mostly digital that you record?
I alternate between a live studio where we bring all the musicians in and do that, and then sometimes we go into the studio, just me and Stefan, and we kind of add modern elements over that. So we kind of use both in the same project to do to modernize it as well. Yeah.
Do you have like a desire to try to maybe do something on analog? Has that ever been?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'd be happy to. The opportunity just hasn't really presented itself. But yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I always, I don't know if you subscribe to this, but like limitations often will breed creativity, and it's just like, I feel like tape is just so kind of puts you in this like heightened state a little bit, because it's it's not cheap, and also it's like most people can't necessarily afford the studio time to record everything separately, so it does become more of like a Sun Sessions type live recording.
Yeah, totally.
So there's this band Orgone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you know? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So they're part of Say Shishi, but they're the, right? So, but I was talking to the bass player, and he was telling me all about how that album Silver came about, and it was largely improvised.
Sure.
Which is insane to me, because it doesn't sound that way. But yeah, he said, because they have their own analog recording studio in North Hollywood. I don't know if you know about it?
I know about it. Yeah, I haven't been there, but yeah.
Yeah, I should put you in touch with them.
Yeah, I'd love to. My a friend of mine that plays percussion with me, his name's Will Phillips. He used to play with Orgone and stuff. So I know a lot of these people. Like, I'm like one degree away.
Right. That's so cool, man. Yeah, so you probably know all about it, but I was just, for the audience, I'll just say, like, they would, like, communal, get some takeout, all eat, talk about their day, and then someone would feel inspired and then start to do something, maybe warm up or whatever.
Yeah.
And someone else would be like, ooh, I like that sound. That kind of sounds like this. And then it just kind of organically form.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me. And then, to have that luxury, and I see it as a luxury to be recording the tape while doing all of that. That's pretty crazy.
Oh yeah, totally. I think that's great, and if you have the ability to do it, go for it. Why not?
I feel like you get those happy accidents, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like I couldn't imagine trying to do all of this on film.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, and I've shot film, but like, yeah, man, it's just, I mean, you could maybe do Super 8, but the problem is, like, those reels are so short. You know what I mean? And then you got to transfer it, and then it's like,
yeah, you're doing just fine, man. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah, but it would be cool. Like, some people refurbish those old analog video cameras, like they would use like back in the day. Like, there's this Vice did this awesome mini documentary on this guy that's like the only person in the world that's like the caretaker for these analog effects, like visual effects. And like, you can sort of recreate them, but you can never like duplicate it.
Yeah.
Because it's all like Moog type knobs and patch chords and stuff. Like, it's insane. I love that stuff. And there's this guy, he's from Ohio. He has a company, but it's called VCR, but video changes reality, and like his work is phenomenal. Like he's really tapped into that analog.
Yeah.
Sort of. I would actually recommend. I mean, your videos are amazing.
Thank you.
I wouldn't change
a
thing. But if you ever need inspo, check out his stuff.
I will,
because he has some crazy cool like 70s transitions.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Always
like,
looking for that.
They look like ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check it out.
They're so good.
Yeah.
The guy's a talent.
Right on.
I think he's in Columbus.
Okay. Yeah. You'll have to hit me to that after.
Yeah. Connor.
Okay.
Awesome
great.
dude.
Shout out to Connor.
Yeah.
Nice.
So your Green Day album was American Idiot, right? That was sort of that was mine.
Uh-huh. That's mine too, but American Idiot was like junior high for me.
Right, it hit the right moment, which is what that one did for me. That was junior high for me. So it's just like it's funny how they had that second that second win, and that was a phenomenal record. I mean I feel like every band, if they stick around long enough, gets that second wind in a way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I cannot stress enough how much Green Day played a role in my musical upbringing in terms of when I picked up a guitar. Billy Joe Armstrong was the reason I got that blue Stratocaster. I mean, that that was the one that I think he played a lot on in Dookie in that era. It had a lot of stickers on it and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, when American Idiot came out, I think I was around 13, and I mean, I just like embraced that so much, and I was like jumping up and down on my bed, just playing power chords, and like the first concert I think I ever saw that was like on a big scale was the Green Day American Idiot tour.
Oh, wow.
Saw it at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, and I got emotional. Like that blew my... I can still think about that and pinpoint just what that did to me mentally, and shaped just my whole, like, I want to do this. I really, I want to do what he did or what they're doing. And I'm so grateful for that time and just that record. It's very pivotal for me.
No doubt. Yeah. I really liked the whole look of that tour and like how they dressed and stuff. Like I thought that was very, very smart. Like I really appreciate that extra mile that you don't have to make it like a Broadway show.
Yeah.
But to like have your live show be somewhat like curated, planned, like with the lights and like costume. Like for me, your experience, for me, that was Weird Al. Seeing Weird Al live.
Cool.
And he put on a great show. Like costume changes, video projection, like all of that. Like even back in like '94, right? So what I read that you kind of hit the town and you sort of befriended JP Saxe, and I did you catch him at the Wiltern show?
No, I didn't, but I was on the bill with him at a songwriter night at the Hotel Cafe last year. I think they brought him back, so it was me and him and a couple other people, and we played it was a thing called the Next to Shine showcase in LA. It was just me and just him years ago. This was before anything had happened with him at all. And we met, and I just remember he told me he really liked what I was doing, and I liked what he was doing too. And then life just kind of went like this. And then I saw that he was, really hitting it big with his stuff, and very, very well deserved. He's a great artist, great guy, and super cool.
I had just learned about him. Yeah. Because like what he does is not my forte.
Sure.
Let's just say, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But I really like his lyrics. I really like the music. But his show was incredible.
Cool.
Probably one of the, top 10 concerts I've ever seen. And a lot of that is like how it was presented and the band and the lights and it was so like well done. So well done. And then the stories he told, he talked about the Hotel Cafe and just like, driving in his crappy Chrysler.
Yeah, sure.
The top didn't close.
Yeah.
And, saying one day I'll play the Wiltern. And that was so cool. Someone proposed at the show.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
And he's like very, very, very smart, very funny. And like, it shows in his in the lyrics. And like anyway, I really enjoyed that.
That's great. Great to hear.
Yeah. But how for you, like as a performer, like how important is the live show and curating a performance, not just playing songs? Like how much does that factor in when you perform live? Obviously not every venue can sometimes it's just you solo and that's all you need.
Absolutely. Yeah, for me, what I'm really thinking about more than lights and all that is entertaining the crowd. Like that is what I care about the most, is putting on a good show with my band, having people have a good time. I want to see people dancing and like I really want it to be a party, positive atmosphere as much as I can. So I'm literally visualizing giving that energy out to people when I'm on stage. That's mostly, to me, that's like, that is the most important. Then the lights and all that stuff, great. But like, again, all my heroes were like entertainers. Like I love James Brown, people like that. They put on shows for people. Like that's what I'm thinking about more than anything. And maybe lights and all that stuff will come into play a little later in my career. But right now I'm just thinking,
you don't need all that right now.
No, I just want people to have a good time.
Yeah, I think that just comes naturally as you grow and the venues support more. You're like, let's play with it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can totally see that happening in your work, and just I think there's a lot of directions you could take it depending on where you want to go with it.
Totally,
I can really see that happening for you. But I think that is very key to have that. Be aware of the audience, and maybe I don't know if you can do this, but like maybe you extend the song a little bit.
Oh yeah,
maybe there's like a breakdown moment where then you're just like talking to people.
Yep, and we do that a lot. Especially the people that I play with, I'm such fans of. I used to back artists for a while and tour with people in my first 7-ish years living here, and from that I met some of the greatest musicians, and fortunately they play with me when they're able to, and we've been friends for a while, so I want to show everyone off. Like I'm a fan of these people too. I don't look at it as just like this is me and this is my show. Like I have people that play horns with me that have played with the Eagles and all these bands that I love, and so I'm like, they need to shine too. I want them to have solos. I think about everyone on stage because they're important, and it's not just about me, really. So
I feel like we're all on this party train. You're the conductor, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, you're sort of guiding us, but it's a team effort, and I think that's very important.
Yeah. So
that's awesome, man. So when it comes time to make the full length album, the LP. When you're making your singles, is that in the back of your mind because you want to like have some sort of a cohesiveness to the sound of it, or is that like, I'll worry about that when I get there? I'll do that in the mix.
Yeah, it's I would say it's a little bit of both, because I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, or everything's got to be this and got to line up, because then I'm taking the creativity out of it or the fun out of it, and then it starts to feel like anxiety, and I don't want to feel. I have enough of that in my regular life. I don't want to bring that into the studio, and so I think a little bit about that, but I'm really thinking about live stuff. Like I'm thinking when I'm writing a song, will this go over live? Can I see this happening live? That to me, writing songs and recording them in the studio is the vehicle in my brain to play them live. So I'm thinking about that more than anything.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Very different than post 66 Beatles.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, that makes, I mean, if you read about the experience they had on the road, I mean, you can understand why.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine, but yeah, I mean, with, having to create Fox amps so people could hear, I don't know how that would work. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. What do you think about this movie thing? This biopic. What do you think about the Beatles biopic?
Well, I have hope because didn't they give the rights to the music?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's a big factor in saying...
Yeah, it's make or break, I think.
There's trust there from them, from Paul, I'm assuming, and Ringo.
And the families.
And the family, all that. So, to me, if they're feeling good about it, I have no reason to not feel good about it. I'm excited, and, just like the Elvis movie seemed to do, where it's like people are like, oh, who's that guy? Some people that didn't really know Elvis got to know him a little bit more. I feel like even it's crazy to think that there are people that don't really know the Beatles like maybe we know the Beatles. Maybe it'll give them an opportunity to really get excited and explore the whole catalog and find the White Album and all the stuff that some of these younger people never heard. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah. However, whatever it takes for folks to connect the dots, I think is huge.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Because I feel like Here Comes the Sun and maybe some of the other Abbey Road songs definitely get like taken out of the album and like put on to like reels and TikToks and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you can connect like, oh, but he also did this and they also did that. Mm-hmm. I think you're onto something there. Did you like the Elvis movie?
Yeah, are you talking about the one with Austin Butler? Because there was that other one that Sofia Coppola did, Priscilla.
Oh, yeah, Priscilla. I didn't watch that one yet.
Yeah, I saw both. Did I like the Elvis movie? Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Elvis fan.
Yeah.
And I could definitely pick certain things apart if I really wanted to be that guy. Go, that's not true, or that's embellished. But I'm like, it's a movie, We're watching a movie. If you want to really know Elvis, read a book, go to Graceland. This is a movie. It's made for entertainment purposes, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I felt like they could have lobbed 30 minutes off the back end of it.
Yeah, sure. I see that. Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
what'd you think about the mixing of like hip hop in there?
Yeah, that was interesting for me because...
Little Doja Cat?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It felt like it was like some people hated it, some people loved it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, all right, I accepted it. I wasn't like, why are they doing... I get why they're doing it. It's very Baz Luhrmann to do something like that. So, he's the director. He's going to do whatever he wants, and I just accepted it. I accepted the whole thing because I wanted to enjoy it, and I did in that mindset.
I feel like in maybe his way, he was sort of trying to maybe get a younger generation to get into it, even though it came sort of late, and not late in the film, but like about halfway, I would say.
Sure.
But I feel like there was definitely some intention put behind that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we're still talking about it, so obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it was just like Hound Dog, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just to me, I'm like, if it gets people on the Elvis train, then I'm all for it because Elvis is great. I want people to know more about him. So if that's kind of a way to get younger people into it, I mean, I don't know what the intention was, but if that's one of them, cool, Yeah.
Yeah. I do... I could be totally off base here, but I feel like in one way it was sort of to show like this was that then. Hound Dog was hip and cool.
Yep.
I mean, if whatever you want that to be, I don't know.
Sure.
People might disagree about Doja Cat, but I feel like that was his way of saying like this was the cool music, and this was like a hip place to be.
Sure, and I don't know if this is true or not, but you had Sister Rosetta Tharpe who wrote Hound Dog, right? And then Elvis comes along and covers it. I had heard some stuff about they're kind of wanting to show the evolution of music even in race, things like here you had Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who was a black female artist. Elvis covered it, he's white, and then they had Doja Cat. It was kind of like showing how this can work. I don't know if that's fully true, but I thought that's interesting if that was even part of the undertone at all. I did think it was interesting.
Yeah. Can you imagine if they? Oh, geez, why am I even bringing this up? But like the biopic of Pat Boone.
Oh yeah. Oh, I just realized. Sorry, it's I think Big Mama. Yeah, it's sorry, I got the wrong
Big
artist.
Mama Thornton.
Yes,
right?
Sister Rosetta Tharpe. I've been on a deep dive with her, and I got them confused. She was kind of like the mother of rock and roll.
Okay.
Really. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I guess I just know the name. It's just sometimes it's like
There's a lot of history there. A lot of different artists. Yeah, that overlap.
yeah. Pat Boone, man.
Yeah. Pat Boone.
His Tutti Frutti is so.
Oh man.
It's so bad.
It is pretty bad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I agree.
So you're excited about the Beatles films. Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny. After I made my video on it, my friend was like, "Oh, is it going to be 4-part series or a movie on each Beatle?" And I'm like, "Oh, I thought it was a movie on each Beatle." But
That's what I heard.
But now I'm like, "Is it a 4-part?" So now I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, I don't know, but we'll soon find out. I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you let's see, what is your like pie in the sky biopics that you would love to see that haven't been made yet? I mean, can you imagine like a Green Day one? That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. I'm like, I wonder if now would be the time. I feel like we have to wait a little bit longer, maybe for some. Well, maybe we don't have to. I mean,
I would love. I mean, I think what's right for the time is a version of Detroit Rock City.
Oh, cool. All right.
So you make it like kids going to see Green Day in the 90s, but you actually have Green Day play in the film.
That could be cool.
You know, like how Kiss played in Detroit Rock City. Because we're about at that time.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess so.
And they can still play.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
So, yeah, I think something like that could be really cool. Like about them. Or, you know, revolving around the height, I would say, or the initial height of Green Day.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be cool. I think it would be interesting to see a biopic on Marvin Gaye. Just a lot of people don't know about all the trauma in his life, and his father killed him. You know,
I know.
I'm just curious I feel like there's just in a cinematic way, there's a great story there for a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's a heartbreaking story for sure. And then there was a moment, I think in 69, 70, he, Berry Gordy's father prevented Marvin Gaye from taking his own life. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of tragedy in that, but also there's a lot of triumph and alchemizing because he had a hard life, and look at what he was able to accomplish. And I'm inspired by things like that, when you can take your pain and turn it into something positive.
What's going on? I mean, that there are records that define what an album can be and should be in a sense. Like you have, Sgt. Pepper's Abbey Road, Dark Side of the Moon. But what's going on, I think, is right up there with those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like you listen to the album right before that, and it feels like it's stuck in 1965 soul, just a bunch of songs, not even written by him. Yeah, maybe he has like 1 or 2 co-writing credits. But this is Marvin Gaye. Like this is him. Like this. No, I don't know if it was necessarily this might be my last record, but if it kind of feels like that. Yeah, I mean, it was important. And I know a lot of the history with that record and how Berry Gordy was saying, this isn't going to do well. There's no pop, right? And it's just like labels always say that. People always say that. Berry Gordy was a genius too. I mean, I respect him like crazy, but good thing that, Marvin disagreed and put that record out anyway, because he knew something that others didn't. And that's a hard thing when you have to trust your own intuition and go, I am correct. Despite what anyone thinks, I am going to put this out. I'm going to stay true to my vision. There's a good lesson in that, Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why my mind goes to Plan 9 from Outer Space, but... yeah. There's also that side of it too, where you're like, well, maybe. Yeah. No. I shouldn't go there, but it's. I mean, there's a lot of stories like that. Of folks just like defying the odds, and like I think Lady Gaga, like people told her, like you're not gonna amount to anything. Right. Yeah. I think that's the fuel.
you know, for a lot of people is you're not good enough.
Yeah.
You're not this enough. Well, it's like, well, I'll show you. I think a lot of people use that to get somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know if it's ultimately sustaining though.
No, totally.
Because it can get hard. Yeah, and then how was it moving to LA? You were quite young, like just out of high school or right about?
Yeah, I moved when I was 18. I had graduated high school in 2010. I got accepted into the Berklee College of Music in Boston.
I read that. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I just, you know, I had tunnel vision. I didn't understand money or college or anything. I just thought, I got accepted. I can just go. And not realizing how expensive it actually was, and we couldn't afford it, and I was pretty bummed because a lot of my heroes went through there, and I just thought, if you know, I want to do that, I want to live that kind of life. And then I stayed in Arlington, Texas, where I grew up, you know, for a year while all of my friends went off and did things, and I was
That's gotta be hard.
It was hard. I got kind of depressed, and but then an opportunity opened up for me to move here to LA. So I quit my job at Subway and that was a time. Yeah. I was a sandwich artist. Now I'm a genuine music artist. That's awesome. How I look at it. But yeah, I moved.
Same concepts, right?
Pretty much exactly the same. Yeah.
I mean, a record's 12 inches.
Yeah, right, exactly. I didn't think about it like that, but that is true.
Are they footlongs anymore?
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, anyway.
But yeah, it was kind of like cannonballing, you know, into a pool. Like I had never been here. Yeah. I just got in a car with a buddy of mine and moved and just like hit the ground running, and I'm so glad I did it. But a lot of people tried to talk me out of it. Tried to talk my parents out of letting me do it. And I get it now, looking back, that was pretty wild, but you got to take risks as an artist and as a human, you know, like nothing is certain. You know, you're always playing that game. Is this certain? Is this uncertain? And I kind of lean towards uncertainty in my life, and I guess I have for a while.
Did you ever end up going to college, or you just had the School of
Hard Knocks? School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's great. And then, you've certainly built a music career since then. Mm-hmm. What were some of the challenges along the way? Like, did you ever just want to throw your hat in ever?
There are times, even now, where sometimes I'm just like, it's pretty hard. You know, it can be hard to sustain and to find your audience, and you feel like you're competing against everyone in the world and all that. But then, you know, I just remind myself, like, I'm in my own lane. I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing, and my only competition really is me. But the thing that I have learned that I think is interesting, which plays on, you know, where there are difficult times, when I had really nothing going on, I was like, I felt like I was a bigger dreamer or something. Like I was just like, I can really do all these things because I hadn't built anything. I was almost living in a delusion. Like I hadn't had music out there. No, there was no demand for anything. I wasn't playing shows. I was backing other people while kind of dreaming about the things that I'm doing now. But now that I'm doing it, it can be, it's like maintaining something now. You know, it's like now you built the thing, now you keep going. And that can be difficult. So there's always challenges, but there's always a lot of love and positivity in this too. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm doing exactly what I wanted to be doing. So it's just maintaining now. Growing. Yeah.
How often do you get back to, or is your family still in Texas? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't go back too often. You know, my wife and I, we live here. Our life is here, and you know, make it back periodically. But just really, really happy here, and my life's here.
Is she in the music business at all, or
no? She is the head of a YouTube channel called New Rock Stars, and they do a lot of film deep dives, and maybe you missed this Easter egg in this Marvel movie or this in Star Wars. It's she's not a host, but she works at the company.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so but we've known each other since we were like 13. We grew up together. Yeah, and so she knew me before I picked up a guitar, and not many people know me like that. So there's this bond and this love and this trust there that's
awesome.
Is so beautiful, and she's very supportive of me, and I feel the same with her and her career, and it's a wonderful thing.
That's so cool. So you guys reconnected out here, I suppose.
No, I was on tour. I was on tour.
I shouldn't assume.
No, that's okay. She was living in New York.
Okay.
Yeah, she was working and doing some stuff for theater and Broadway and all that.
Yeah.
And I was on tour with an artist named Haley Reinhart, who you should absolutely talk to in here. She's very
awesome.
And I was on tour with her, and my now wife Patty came to see us when we played the Highline Ballroom, and we reconnected fully, and then from there, just like I think now's the time. I kind of always had a crush on her.
Oh, that's so sweet, dude.
Now we're married, and again, part of this dream that I've created. Like I always felt a thing with her. I felt a thing with music. It's kind of nice that this is my reality now.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Do we have some more singles on the way? Mm-hmm. How long do we have to wait for the record?
So fair question. My recent single, High When I'm Low, featuring Lunch Money Lewis and Dave Koz, just came out.
Love that song.
Thank you. Yeah, I had that one for 4 years in the bag, man.
Way.
Yeah, it just, a lot of magic had to happen for it to get to where it is. And
it's a fun video, too.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's single number 1. Single number 2 is coming out pretty soon. That's called I Can Never Get Enough. And then the EP comes out May 17th. It's called For Your Listening Pleasure. And it's got, another single on there called Coming Up. That's coming out with the EP. And not too long from now. Yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Right before we hit record, you were telling me that you got to go to Abbey Road. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I had never been to Liverpool, and it's been a dream of mine to go there and to explore the. Yeah, and I know you went.
I haven't been to Liverpool yet.
Okay, right, but you went to London, and I know you were near Abbey. You got to walk the crosswalk, which I got
to go into the lobby of the studio.
Yeah, I watched your video, and I thought that was cool. I didn't go inside Abbey Road. I was on the outside. But yeah, basically, I was backing another artist, and we had just played a show in Saudi Arabia, if you can believe it or not.
What was that like?
That was wild. What
was customs like?
Pretty crazy. It was a little nerve-wracking, the whole thing. But we were in good hands, very nicely taken care of, and it was all good. But we could talk about that forever. But basically. When flying back home, I decided I would stop and kind of debrief in England. So
why not, man? That's so cool.
So I went to I went by myself, and I went to Abbey Road, not in the studio, but I walked the crosswalk.
Yeah.
I walked around that area, and I thought it was so cool. I'm just to see what that was like, and I was like, oh, it's kind of just like a neighborhood. It's it's kind of hidden in here. I wonder what it would have been like for these people that just come outside and live in this neighborhood to see the Beatles walking by. It was pretty cool to take all of it in and not just that street. And then I went to Liverpool, took the train. I did the Magical Mystery Tour.
Oh, fun.
And I went inside Paul's childhood home and John's, and they let me play the piano in the living room, which was crazy. Yeah.
Was it in tune?
It was a little off. A little off. But yeah, and then I became friends with the tour guide. We were just talking about music and stuff, and he said, I'm playing the Cavern Club tonight if you want to come and hang. And I was like, sure. I mean, I'd love to come and see you. And in between me going to my hotel room and then going to the Cavern Club to see him, he had checked out my music, and he wrote me, was like, oh, dude, like, I love your stuff. Like, this is really cool. He said, I'll cut my set short if you want to get up and play some of your tunes here tonight.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, man, he let me do it. I got up on stage. It was a packed crowd. And I played, I think, two original songs of mine. Yeah, at a packed Cavern club. And I was hovering above myself, man. I was just like, I'm playing in this room that, like, for years, I was like, what is this going to be like?
Yeah,
so, yeah.
What is it like? Because I know it closed and then it reopened and then they were selling bricks from the... So what is it now?
I mean, my understanding is, like, it's still very much the same. I just think the entrance changed or something like that. But, yeah, I mean, I was looking at pictures of the Beatles playing it, and I'm like, while I was in there, I was like, this is the same. Like, even the background, the wall that has all the band names, that's still there, and it's like in the same order as the picture I'm looking at from the 60s. So I'm like, this is still preserved pretty well, you know. I mean,
that's awesome. Yeah,
felt like I was in the same one to me. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's so cool, man. I can't. Again, I don't know what that would even. I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's so cool, though.
It was cool. Yeah.
I mean, what an honor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there'll ever be, like, lightning striking twice for something like that? You know what I mean? Like
another band to come around and have a big moment like that?
I mean, not to downplay the Cavern Club as a place, but, like, now it feels like people go there because of the notoriety, not necessarily, like... I mean, do you think someone could come from that and create a scene from that? Like...
Maybe. I just think times are different, but, you know, even just in my time of living in LA for a little over a decade now, I'm like, oh, I'm part of, like, a scene here. I didn't even know that I was, you know, like, just even some of my friends that I met back then, you know, I'm like, oh, we're all kind of doing things together. And so I think, I don't know, time has to go by maybe a little to like be able to look back and connect the dots, because I think scenes are happening all the time.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I just wonder if it, I mean, LA is such an anomaly. I don't think we can really use that as an example. But like something more like Seattle is a little bit more reserved. Yeah. Or I shouldn't say reserved, but like it's separate. Like Liverpool is so separate, right? It's such like a working class, like port city. Yeah. It was just a weird, strange confluence of different things. Like they were getting records that most people in the rest of the UK weren't getting. Yeah. Because of their proximity to import exports and stuff, and like
I mean, all I can say is I hope so. You know, I hope things like that happen again. It'd be great to see. So
I feel like also cost of living plays a huge factor too.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, like I don't like London's so like expensive. I mean, in a weird way, it is affordable in a weird way compared to LA in some regards. But I just. I wonder about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I hope it would be great to see. Yeah.
And then what are some of your like dream collaborations or I don't know what you would call that. Like, because I was just reading about Billy Joel and I'm blanking on that guy's name. But like one of his goals was to the songwriter of Turn the Lights Back On.
Oh yeah, I think it's Henry Wexler or something. Freddie Wexler. Yeah.
But yeah, like one of his dreams was to get Billy Joel, like to meet him. Yeah. And then I think a secondary one was to like work with him. So I wonder, is there anybody like that for you?
It almost just feels sort of impossible, but Paul, you know, Paul McCartney.
Yeah, right now.
I'm such a fan. Yeah. Just love him, and I mean, would love to just meet him if possible. But yeah, someone like that.
I hear Ringo's not super hard to get to play drums.
Yeah, I know he's played drums on. I think he played on like Colin Hayes' record.
Yeah,
he was in here, and you know all that. So I mean, we're slowly becoming closer. I would say we're acquaintances at this point. But Sheila E.
Oh man, she's so cool.
Yeah, she invited me to her Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony where she got a star, and Ringo inducted her. So I was standing near, like I'm not right next to, but near in the presence of
you could smell
Ringo.
him.
Yeah, and I was just like, Wow, that's Ringo, man. Like,
that's so cool.
Right there. Yeah, so I've been around Ringo a little, and who knows? Maybe there's a world in which we collab. Who knows?
I went to the Grammy Museum Theater for, I'm going to get his name wrong. I always invert it, but Trombone Shorty.
Yeah.
He was there with his nephew and their band, which is like the new something brass band. Anyway, they're from New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing their thing. They're killing it on stage. And then this woman comes up and like, I was a little far back. I'm like, who's this woman drumming? And Sheila E was there. And she just like knocked it out of the park with this amazing drum solo on the snare. Yeah. Just on the snare. And I was like, dang.
Yeah, man. I've jammed with her. And
no way.
Yeah, it's
man.
She's a force. I've been a special guest artist on this music cruise for the past like 7 years. My buddy Dave Koz, who's a big jazz saxophone player.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, he has his own music cruise, and we've had Tower of Power on there. We've had Sheila E for a few years, Larry Graham. So I've got to, meet all these people and talk with them and jam. And I jammed with Sheila on a show last year, and it's pretty crazy, man.
Does the conversation ever deviate towards Prince, or is that like a topic you don't?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sometimes, okay.
When I met Larry Graham, I did have a pretty big conversation with him about Prince, and that was pretty cool. Sheila's pretty open about Prince. I'm sure everyone asks her about it all the time, so I try not to. But just just to absorb anything she has to say.
Yeah.
If she says anything, I'm just like, great, I'm all ears,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, so just pretty cool to, to be in her presence. And Prince is another hero of mine, so just that whole world, I'm just like, wow, it's really cool.
I know. What an innovator. Like,
oh, yeah.
Sign of the Times is probably my favorite record of his. And just like, I was thinking about this recently, especially when you just older albums in general.
Yeah.
Like there was like this, I feel like today, a lot of artists, I don't know if it's self-imposed, but it's just, we have to stay in this lane. Whereas like you listen to Prince, or even like I was checking out the Doobie Brothers, The Captain and Me, and like that record's all over the place.
Sure.
Right? It's not like they're, I mean, I love The Dip. I really do. And their record is amazing. Stick with it or whatever, sticking with it. Yeah. But it's very much confined in where they go. Yeah. And I get that that's like safe and stuff, but there is, I just wonder what do you think of that?
In what do I think of going wherever you feel like going all in one record?
I guess, I had a fear of over-explaining it, so that's why I wanted to throw it to you. But sure. I will elaborate. Yeah, but basically, as an outsider, sometimes I wonder, like, how much of that is, like, self-imposed and how much of that is, like, well, this is our brand, we need to stick to it because we don't, we don't want to alienate our audience with something they're unfamiliar with, or, like, why is I think maybe because we're so single-based. Yeah. It sort of puts us on that. Yeah. Versus like albums, you could throw like a random, Piggies song on there.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. Yeah. That it's an interesting point because I face that. I think about things like that too. And it's a matter of, how far do I want to go with whatever's in my brain at this time? If that varies from kind of what I've already established, and what people are starting to know me for. What if I decided I wanted to do this a little bit? And why is that scary when so many have done it before? Well, it's a different world. It's a different industry. And I think trust is really important with your audience. Yeah. I don't think that means don't ever take risks and move forward with whatever idea is in your brain. But, I don't know. It can be tricky, that fear of like, well, am I losing my audience? But then it's kind of like, well, what are all of us doing it for? It's about music. It's about taking this train ride into wherever you're going to go. No one really knows. So hopefully people will get on board with you. I think just follow your creativity always and just go forward, you know?
Loud.
LA, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I think about that with bands like, it was so funny. I see that the National and the War on Drugs are touring together. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's the same band.
Sure.
But yeah. I mean, I love them, dear. I love them both. But like, especially with the War on Drugs, like, what did they do? They took like Dire Straits or mixed with Tom Petty and just like ran with it for like album after album. And like, I love Beach House.
Yeah.
And they also iterate on a sound. Interpol iterates on a sound. Like, I felt, you know, it can be scary for a band to kind of like step outside, or even an artist, like, you know, with like Tame Impala. Tame Impala took a big leap with Currents.
Right.
Worked out in his favor. But then I think, I don't know, other things happened with the follow-up to that. I think he went too long.
Yeah.
Before releasing. There's just like, it's so fickle, right? It can be so fickle.
Well, also, I think we live in a very now type of world where, you know, like, okay, well, so-and-so put out this record, it flopped, everything's done, it's over now because no one bought it, no one cared. But it's about where it ends up, you know? I think about, one of my favorite records by Marvin Gaye is a record called Here, My Dear, which was a flop. And at the time...
What year was that? Do you know?
I think it was late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
But from what I understand, it was inspired by the divorce that he went through with Berry Gordy's daughter, who he was married to. And it's an arc of falling in love and then falling out of love, and it gets real deep, and he talks about like lawyer fees and I mean, it gets like, it's really personal. Yeah. But it's such a great record, and yeah, at the time, no one, from what I understand, really cared about it. People are starting to like it again now, though. And so to me, it's about maybe an artist puts out a record and you're not with it right now, but maybe you'll catch up to it later, or maybe it will catch up to society. Like, just go for what you're trying to do, you know?
Well, yeah, like that. I mean, the Donnie and Joe Emerson, that album, Dreamin', or whatever it's called, Dreamin', it's got a glare on it. But that record, you know, that didn't even get a chance to shine, or the Rodriguez album.
Yeah.
Or even like Pink Moon, Nick Drake.
Sure.
I mean, like, he had some backing, but or even the band Love, right?
Yeah,
you know, there's lots of things like that, and then it's unfortunate. It's funny because you bring that up, and I was just watching this documentary about the book Truffaut and Hitchcock, that book.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And like David Fincher said something along those lines, because Vertigo, it didn't necessarily bomb, but it sort of came and went. And then it became like this mythical film, like, you gotta watch it,
Yep.
Right? And it's like, yeah, he said the same thing. It's like, it's not so much like how, obviously you want to hit, but like, it's more about where it ends up. And like, just because it doesn't become this box office sensation doesn't mean it doesn't have worth. And I feel like we're coming into that, into streaming, right? Streaming, it's like Netflix just like cancels shows left and right because it doesn't hit a certain algorithm at a certain point, whatever it is. And then it just seems so arbitrary. Like, you know, a show like Star Trek The Next Generation could never survive on a streaming platform. It's just so different now. And I feel like in a weird way, those older shows are more like albums, right? It's like more...
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Because it's like, what, 25 episodes a season? And like, there's a lot of one-offs, you know? And it's episodic?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not serialized.
Sure.
But yeah, it was all about getting that syndication money.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, just based off of what you're saying, art just goes on. That's the wonderful thing about art, is it just goes on, and people find certain things later. And you know, as an artist in this current climate, I will say there's usually a lot of pressure on release week. The single's coming out. Did it make a New Music Friday playlist on Spotify? Did it get anything? Oh no. Well, if not, then it's done. All this stuff, all this effort, it wasn't worth it. That's so not true. That's all an illusion, and it's about where it ends up. You put a song out in the world, and you're like, go live your life. I don't know what's going to happen with you.
Right.
You know, maybe you'll do this, maybe you won't. That's the beauty of it, is the uncertainty forever.
It could get memeified 5 years from now.
Yeah, never know. So, you know,
That stuff is so crazy, but I don't know. I admire what you do, and I really enjoy it. I want more people to check you out and listen.
I appreciate
if they haven't already. You know what I mean?
Thank you. And I have to say, everything you do and say is very important, and I'm really grateful that this platform exists. This is very up my alley, this show, and I've been watching what you do and say for a long time, and it really is an honor to be here. And yeah, man, thanks for having me. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks.
And thanks for educating people on this wonderful music.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It, I mean, like you, this is it. I don't make music, but it's a very similar process, you know? And
of course.
Like as an example, my Elvis video, you know, when I released it, I think it was 2019. Like it did fine. You know, I was happy with I think it crossed like 100,000 views at a certain point. And then it just, you know, tapers off. Yeah. And then, Baz Luhrmann releases a trailer.
See? Yeah.
And like you can see, and the analytics, it just jumps up. And now it's like my second or third most popular video. It's so interesting.
Yeah, man.
And that was like a couple years after the fact.
Sure. You never know. You just put things out. And you say, all right, I surrender. I can't get too attached to this. Yeah. And you also don't want to throw your hook on something like that, and because your self-worth is not about your video. Because then if your video goes up and down and you've attached who you are to that, then you go up and down. And sometimes I struggle with that musically.
It's
and
so
I'm like,
hard,
it's what you create. It's not you. It's separate from you, you know? So, yeah, but I love your channel, man. I think it's super educational, important, and very entertaining, and you're a great host, man. Great to talk to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming by,
dude,
too.
Please, anytime.
Oh, yeah. What are your socials? How about we'll plug you a little bit?
For sure. So my official website is dylanchambersmusic.com. My Instagram is at Dylan, DYLAN _Chambers. And I do have to stress it's important that the underscore is in there because I do share the same name as an adult film star.
Oh, okay.
So, and you can follow him, too, if you want. But my account's verified and his isn't. So I guess I won, other Dylan Chambers. But yeah, those are, you know, Instagram is mostly what I'm active on. So just, you know, feel free to check me out there.
I forgot to ask you because your mom, I don't know if she's retired at all, but her profession, apart from being a Broadway actress, was vocal coach.
Yeah.
How much did that factor into you becoming a singer?
That is the reason. I mean, that is the whole thing.
I figured.
Yeah, just because right from when I was born, I was just exposed to that. You know, she was a vocal coach when I was born. So we had people coming over to the apartment that we lived in to take lessons from her since I was in diapers. So I grew up listening to her teaching people how to sing, and there was always music in the house. And I asked her at one point if she would teach me how to sing. I think I wanted to feel closer to her because she was busy a lot teaching other people that I was like, I want to be more involved. And then, I mean, from there, I think I started singing at 4 years old. And it was a huge, that was the big bang of my life, really, was her teaching me how to sing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I knew there was something. So I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. All right. Well,
cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, appreciate it.
Be sure to check out Dylan's music however you can. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side.